Hello, thank you for listening. This is the near death experience of Jeff, and this experience occurred in 2004. Open quote. In the early hours of the morning, sometime during the summer of 2004, I was headed home from a friend's house with my best friend who was driving at the time. Almost home, we were stopped by a red light in the quiet suburban neighborhood a few blocks from our house. As the light turned green, we pulled out into the intersection. I glanced to my right side and only had enough time to scream the first syllable of my friend's name before the Mercedes plowed into the right rear quarter of our minivan at high speed. Immediately, everything was in slow motion and filled with white light. I could see, but everything seemed now be in shades of bright white light. At this point, I felt a strong presence of an extremely loving and compassionate being, although I could not see them. There was no fear or panic, just awareness of what was happening. Not realizing that I had left my body, I was very surprised to be able to see the back of my head as it hit the passenger side window and shattered the glass. I did not feel any pain from this, and I had a sense that the being was somehow shielding me from the trauma. Sometime after this, I reviewed my life experiences. It felt like I could see everything all at once, like staring at a lot of monitors, each displaying a different scene. From that point, it is hard for me to connect exactly how one moment proceeded to the next, but I remember having the distinct thought, man, I wanted to do more this time. I was about to go off to college and become an engineer. I had this sense that I was meant to do that and help people somehow, although I had never really thought about having multiple lives. Yet this thought strangely felt completely normal and familiar to me, like I had been in this situation before. The disappointment I felt at my life ending was surprisingly not that severe, though. The best way I can describe it is as if you had to suddenly change your vacation plans and cancel a trip you were looking forward to doing. It may be disappointing, but not the end of the world. The next thing I remember is opening my eyes. I was sitting on the edge of my car seat. The door was open, and I was rotated 90 degrees, so I was looking out and away from the car. My shoes were off, although I have no idea how that happened. When I looked up, there was a couple standing about 6 feet in front of me. They looked to be between ages 30 and 40. They were both thin and looked very healthy. I asked the woman if I was going to be okay, and she told me, "Oh, honey, you are going to be fine." There was a car behind us at the red light before we pulled out into the intersection. They called 911, and I had thought this couple was from that car. After loading me into the ambulance, I asked the paramedic who the couple was and said they had been so nice and kind. She told me that there was no couple standing by the car with me. To this day, I wish I could remember what they looked like with more detail. I really wonder if they were deceased family members coming to comfort me. End quote. What an interesting story and some additional insight so far. And there are a couple questions at the end, but just going through, it was so interesting how fast he goes out of his body before the head hits the windshield in the automobile crash. Interesting about his description of the life experiences and the multiple monitors. Having all these scenes going on at the same time, maybe your mind being expanded to be able to see each screen and be able to take in everything from each screen. Next, you had his information possibly about reincarnation, how he was disappointed that his life was ending again, and he wasn't going to be able to accomplish his task, and he was about ready to go to college and become an engineer. I wanted to do more this time. What does that mean? I wanted to do more this time. He says, yet this thought strangely felt completely normal and familiar to me, like I had been in this situation before. Very interesting. Here's another description of your feeling about your life ending. And I think he did a great description of it, comparing it to a canceled vacation. It's disappointing, but it's not the end of the world. And then after that, you have these beings who calm you when you're coming back. We've seen that in multiple different NDEs where somebody will see a person who's coming back to their body or is about ready to leave their body, maybe, see somebody who isn't there that calms them. There was it was a little while ago about a person in the hospital room, and they look over and there's an older lady there, there's a beautiful older lady, and she's, don't worry, I'll call the nurse. Well, she was never there. These people right here, right outside the door. This guy could get really all freaked out when he comes back, but they're right there to tell him, hey, don't worry about it. Everything's going to be fine. Okay, honey, you're going to be fine. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So we got some questions. Question, did you feel separated from your body? Answer, yes, during the impact I saw my head hit the passenger side window and shatter the glass. Afterwards, I was able to verify the window was indeed broken, but of course couldn't verify what had caused it to break. I clearly left my body and existed outside of it. Question, did time seem to speed up or slow down? Answer, during the collision, time slowed down during the collision and while I was viewing it outside of my body, but time seemed to not exist during the review of my life and only seemed to come back when I opened my eyes. Question, did you encounter or become aware of any deceased or alive beings? Answer, uncertain. I saw a couple, a man and a woman, standing outside of the car after I opened my eyes. The woman approached me and told me I would be okay when I asked her. The man stood there and did not speak, but felt loving/peaceful. When I asked the paramedics about this couple, they told me there was no one there. I did not recognize them at the time and now do not remember exactly what they look like. I wish I did so I could try to identify them if they were deceased family members. Question, what emotions did you feel during the experience? Answer, I felt disappointment that this life was ending and that I still had more to do. But I also felt that peace and that it was okay to die. I also felt like I had been in that place before. In the presence of the being/light, I felt completely loved and protected. Question, did you suddenly seem to understand everything? Answer, I wouldn't say that I understood everything, but I came away with a strong feeling that we exist in this life, separated from God, so that we can find and choose love and compassion and learn the lessons we need to learn and could not learn in our true home. I felt that the being protected me and that I was sent back because I still had work to do in this life. It was after expressing disappointment that I wanted to do more, and specifically, I felt like I needed to go to engineering school and use my knowledge to help people somehow, that I was suddenly back with my eyes open. Question, did scenes from the future come to you? Answer, scenes from my personal future. I didn't actually see any scenes. It says, I didn't actually see any scenes from my future, but had a sense that I would die in my 30s. I'm 35 now, so far so good. This has haunted me at times because the knowledge of it felt so strong. I'm not afraid of being dead after my experience, but still have a fear of the dying process/suffering. Question, what was your religion prior to your experience? Answer, Christian, Protestant. Question, have your religious practices changed since your experience? Answer, I now believe in reincarnation without any doubt. Question, what is your religion now? Christian, Protestant. Question, did your experience include features consistent with your earthly beliefs? Answer: I did not believe in reincarnation at the time, and the experience made it very clear to me that we do indeed take many earthly forms each time to learn particular lessons. Question: did you have a change in your values and beliefs because of your experience? Answer: yes, I now believe in reincarnation and that death is just a transition. Question: did you seem to encounter a mystical being or presence or hear an unidentifiable voice? Answer: during the impact, as stated elsewhere, I was in the presence of a loving being. At the time, I strongly felt this was Jesus. This being seemed to move from place to place, absorbing the impact and motion as the car spun around, although I couldn't see it, just perceive it. That being said, the sense of perception of the being and its actions/intentions felt every bit as clear as seeing it with my eyes. Question: during your experience, did you gain information about pre-mortal existence? Answer: yes. I had a strong feeling of being there before, and I thought that I wanted to do more this time. I had a feeling that I had experienced many lives in the past, and whatever I was trying to do/learn in this life had not happened yet, and I wanted to continue. The memory of that thought really surprised me later, as I had never had such thoughts before and didn't really believe in reincarnation. During your experience, did you gain information about the existence of God? Answer: yes. Although I can't say exactly how I knew, I'm not sure how, I was completely confident that the being of love that was with me during the impact was Jesus. Question: during your experience, did you gain information about the meaning of life? Answer: yes. As previously stated, I came away from the experience with a strong conviction that earthly life's purpose is to learn how to love unconditionally and learn the lessons that your soul needs in order to grow. I also came away with the belief that we exist in this form because it uniquely allows us to do those things by forgetting our true nature. Question: during your experience, did you gain information about an afterlife? Answer: yes. I came away with the knowledge that we exist in this life to learn lessons that our soul needs to learn and that we return home after we are done. I've sometimes explained this to people as similar to the experience of going to sleep and then waking up in the morning. We lose our sense of our daytime existence during the dream and then experience things that we need to learn/process events. When we wake up in the morning, we then integrate that into our waking consciousness. I view life and death as another layer to that. Question: during your experience, did you gain information about love? Answer: yes. I came away with the knowledge that love is what life is all about, as cliche as it sounds. Question: what life changes occurred in your life after your experience? Answer: moderate changes. Question: was the experience difficult to express in words? Answer: yes. The clear presence of the entity with me during the collision is hard to explain. I couldn't see anything, but I knew the entity was there, and I could perceive its actions/intentions. Also, the life review is very hard to describe. Simultaneously viewing everything at once is just impossible to put into words. Question: how accurately do you remember the experience in comparison with other life events around the time? Answer: I remember the experience in much more detail than other experiences around me the same time due to how impactful it was for me. Question: do you have any psychic, non-ordinary, or other special gifts after your experience that you did not have before the experience? Answer: yes. I seem to have certain things happen with people that are very close to me. Many times with my parents and spouse. Since then, I will have a thought enter my mind a second before they express it. My father is very musical. He is a pianist and loves music. Many times with him, I've had a melody get stuck in my head a few seconds before he then mentions that song or says he has it stuck in his head. Question: Are there one or several parts of the experience that are especially meaningful or significant to you? Answer: the most meaningful part of the experience is that death is not the end. We are here to learn, and loving unconditionally is the most important thing we can do. Question: have you ever shared this experience with others? Answer: yes, I shared my experience immediately with my parents. They were very interesting and believed my experience pretty much right away. Probably interested. Question: did you have any knowledge of NDEs prior to your experience? Answer: uncertain. I think I was vaguely aware of NDEs as a concept before it, but certainly had never researched/read about them. Question: what do you believe about the reality of your experience? Answer: experience was definitely real. There was never any doubt in my mind that the experience was real. End quote. What a great story there, Jeff, and some great points in the questions as well, talking about the separation and the soul learning and growing. We've heard that before, and he kind of puts a couple of other descriptions on it to kind of round it out. Thank you for listening. Have a great day.